Welcome back. The ANC in KwaZulu-Natal has removed those with pending court cases from its candidate list for the upcoming local government elections. This is in line with the party's step-aside rule. But how will it impact the party as well as its performance, especially as some branches have already missed the registration deadline? Well, let's speak about this with political analyst Professor Bheki Mngomezulu. Prof, thank you so much for your time this evening. We're talking about those that are facing some kind of charges being removed from these candidate lists. But when it comes to KwaZulu-Natal, they've got other problems, don't they? Issues around about 340 or so disputes as of the 16th of August. What is happening there?
No, thank you very much, my sister, for having me, and good evening to your listeners. Yeah, to be honest, there is a problem. That's a point of departure. Unless we admit that, we'll definitely be doing a disservice to the country. There is a problem, and the problem is very serious. Because whenever there's going to be an election, we are dealing with one and the same problem, whereby some disgruntled members of the party contest the list and say that some of the people who have been nominated by the branches don't see the light of day. Their names disappear somewhere, or else they are removed by the senior members of the party. So that raises a question then, has the party not learned from previous elections? Because you can't be sitting with one and the same problem, one election after the other. If we had a similar problem, for instance, in 2016, what did we do between 2016 and 2021? If there was a way of addressing the problem, how much of that have we done? And then in the event that the problem is beyond the ANC's control, has the party tried to look for assistance elsewhere? So those are some of the critical questions that we're asking. To have 5 municipalities that are disputed, or 5 branches that are disputed, could be well okay. But to have such a big number, that tells you that there is something very serious that the party needs to attend to sooner than later.
But is there political will to attend to it effectively? I mean, when we're looking at some of the disputes, for example, it's around how food parcels were used to solicit nominations. Now, this is speaking squarely to politics of the stomach and how politics of the stomach still govern many areas in this country. And the question then, Prof, would be, how far can politics of the stomach go? Can it turn deadly?
It really can, because when someone is hungry, that person becomes vulnerable. So any of the kinds of political leaders whom I refer to as political vultures, they definitely use that situation. Because if you are hungry, you are not in a good position to negotiate, because your primary concern is to satisfy your hunger. So you'll take any food parcel that comes away, even if it means working against your own principles. Under normal circumstances, you would expect members of the party to be principled and then, of course, abide by the party rules that are there, by the way. But then if someone is hungry, that person is most likely to bend some of the rules in order to satisfy the stomach. So that's what we call the politics of the belly, or the politics of the stomach. And it works both ways. Some of those who are looking for positions, they would do anything and everything to make sure that they get those positions. And those who are on the receiving end, they will accept anyone, literally anyone, even people who don't deserve to hold leadership offices, just because they are hungry, they are given that food parcel, they are given that amount of money, and then they vote for the person, knowing very well the person is not good for the position. So it's very dangerous, because all of us have to suffer in the process. Once someone has been elected, you are stuck with that person for the next 5 years.
But then when you're looking at the candidates lists and how there's still certain branches that were not able to submit their candidates, in that case, does the ANC in KZN, which, by the way, is one of the African National Congress's strongest base, so if they want to win elections, they will want to win it in KwaZulu-Natal. But does that then remain under threat? And does it remain under threat of other political parties who could take advantage of the gaps that we're seeing within the ANC?
It's a foregone conclusion that if the ANC is unable to field candidates in certain municipalities, the other parties are going to occupy that space. Here we're talking about the DA, we're talking about the EFF, we're talking about the IFP. These are the parties, the NFP as well, because it will be contesting this time around, unlike 2016, when it could not contest the election except for Isingutu or Ngutu, just because of some internal problems. So this time around, the NFP is back. The IFP, of course, has made a significant improvement if you look at the 2016 election and the national election in 2019. So definitely where the ANC has problems, these other parties are going to capitalize on that.
How strong is the IFP and the NFP in being able to take advantage of these coming local government elections? This is based on the assumption that the ANC cannot get themselves right ahead of the local government elections. The IFP and the NFP, could they find strength and gain a lot of momentum?
I wouldn't necessarily say that the NFP is a strong competitor. The IFP definitely, because even when the ANC did not have these kinds of problems of failing to register candidates, the IFP still won some municipalities. So the IFP is a force to be reckoned with, more especially when it comes to KwaZulu-Natal. So I can vouch that definitely where the ANC has been unable to field candidates, the party that will benefit the most is indeed the IFP. Other parties can still get a seat here and there, but the party that will be the most, beneficiary will be the IFP, given what it has been doing since 2016, and then, of course, looking at what it did in the national government election in 2019. They will definitely benefit a lot.
Professor Bheki, thank you very much for your time this evening. That, of course, is Professor Bheki Mngomezulu giving us the latest there on KZN and the African National Congress. Well